Well, let's sort of dive into that, because I think one of the things that's linked to aspect ratio is the active picture and blanking. Are you buying a software product that's just going to display the active picture? What about all the other ancillary data that's associated with the image that's not part of that active picture? So I find this amusing. Here we are in the 21st century, and I'm still using an analog waveform to explain what's going on in the world. Any of you who sat through Steve and I when we talk about SMPTE and 2110 and media over IP, this appears because suddenly the term active picture has huge significance, doesn't it, Steve?
Yes, it does.
So here we can see an analog waveform with our active video. And there are two parts of this, aren't there? There's the horizontal blanking and the vertical blanking, which we use to basically store associated ancillary data.
Yes.
Now, some of this is basically line critical, isn't it? Others sort of is, should we say, frame critical, and some of this information has to appear at certain lines because that's where all of the receiving devices are expecting to see that information.
Yeah. Well, and if it's a theatrical release, it's not going to fit in a 16:9 window. And you need to make sure that that window is starting at the correct place, ending at the correct place, both horizontally and vertically.
Should we take people through where it should start, Steve? Because obviously for television, black starts at line 0, pixel 0. But the active video, as we just talked about there, will start later.
Yes. And that's the concerning point, is especially on scanned material, there's a lot of older material that was all shot on 35mm that's being rescanned. And you can have framing errors to where the scan actually was off a pixel or two, left or right. And did it start at the correct point? Did it end at the correct point? And not just looking at, okay, is this a 178, which would be a 16:9, or is this one of the theatrical type releases where, it's going to be, a 239, type image where, yes, it's going to be, we might say, skinnier and wider as a presentation, but within the SDI piece, or when we actually export this video, we have to make this fit within what the constraints of the system will take.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, it's going to be the VANC that's going to be affected here. And to support these different aspect ratios, the video may start on a later line and it may end before the last line of the raster, as you said. And to give you an example here, this is a small selection where they start and finish.
Yes. And so there's always going to be, okay, as long as it starts, if it's a 135 and it's supposed to start on 346, you generally may have, 345 would be okay, 347 would be okay. You're looking for 346. There might be a line or two wiggle room, but you need to be able to tell, that it did start and end exactly where it is supposed to.
Yeah. Simple, this, isn't it? As we said, and that's without mentioning, the myriad of other aspect ratios that are associated with UHD, 2K, 4K.